Hi, this is Josh Bycer from GameWisdom.com. Hope you enjoyed this Game Industry Insight, a look behind the scenes at game development. And be sure to subscribe and you can pitch future video topics. For today's Industry Insight, we're going to be taking a quick look back at one of the most important game releases of the last decade. Something that helped to cement Valve, and by extension Steam's pretty much dominance of the PC game industry from that point going forward to, well, right now we're not quite sure when that will end. And that, my friends, is the orange box. If I put my arms out like this, I could be a monster for Halloween. You go up to like EA or Ubisoft right now. But the orange box, as the screenshot obviously demonstrates, was a compilation featuring three very, very well-known and well-received games. And today it may not seem like all that big of a deal. I'm sure right now, for you folks watching this, you probably own those three games and most likely have played them at some point in your life. But where the orange box stands in terms of the history of Steam and PC gaming in general is a very interesting topic and really shows you how much things have rapidly changed when it comes to the history of video games and making them. And at some point we need to kind of have that discussion about how rapidly things move. But a few of this is going to be a recap from my previous critical thought on the importance of Steam. Now, as we know, Steam came out in its first form around 2003-2004. And it's most well known as being the requirement to run Half-Life 2. And that was certainly a shocker back then. If I remember right, I think this may have been the first time that a secondary program was required to play a game. You know, that never stuck after that, right? But when it came to Half-Life 2 and using Steam, it was pretty bad. For me, and for myself and for a lot of other people, this kind of swore us off of Steam for a very long time. Other than for like major names or stuff like that, this was pretty much seen as a unnecessary second step to get to your game. And it's kind of stuck that way, or it became that way for a while. Now, the first big momentum for Valve and Steam came in 2005. When they decided to open this up to be more of a platform for games. And they started to get publishers onto Steam. Stuff like Introversion's titles were there, I think Strategy First, and I'm sure a lot of other games that I am completely forgetting right now. But this was kind of the start of saying that Steam wasn't just going to be this thing that stops you from playing your games. You could buy other games on there. But getting back to our main topic at hand, the orange box, and why this was such a big deal. Now, the orange box as it stands is a very interesting game release, and we've seen a few examples of this. Most famously, there is from NFL 2K2, I believe, when the developers decided to release a full-on football title, full AAA game for $20 as an attempt to undercut Madden. But with the orange box, this was essentially Valve's attempt at, I guess, pulling people back to Steam, saying, you know, it's changed. We're no longer that annoying thing before. Here are three amazing games. And the orange box, for like a really unique standpoint, was marketed quite well for having three unique titles that really we haven't seen before, seen in that iteration. Obviously, people know what Half-Life 2 is and Team Fortress, but Portal was the odd man out. And as I talked about in my Dissecting Design of the game, which I'll link below if you haven't seen it, Portal really just like appeared one day and shook things in terms of what you could do with a video game. It was a really great example of not only being a minimalistic title with just the basic mechanic of the portal gun, but really having that greater than the sum of its parts with the writing, the voice acting, and of course everyone's favorite song, Still Alive. And when it comes to the orange box, the value of it was really quite insane. And for those of you watching this, I need you to, for anyone who remembers buying, I could use some help on this. what was the original price of the orange box? I know right now it's priced at 20, but I don't think that's what it was back then. I'm pretty sure it was $30 or $40. But again, if you are able to remember that, please let me know in the comments below. Now, the other part, what made the orange box so unique from a purchasing standpoint, was of course that this was basically Valve's Trojan horse for Steam, and trying to get people back to the platform, and proving that there was value to this platform and why you should play it. And in 2007, besides of course the orange box, Valve released the Steam community. And this is one of those major steps that transformed Steam into something else. Like we said previously, Steam was a storefront and a form of copy protection. That was it. You put your games on there, you play them, and you're done. But the Steam community changed that. And again, this is one of those aspects that it sounds quaint right now. Again, for those of you watching this who, again, like don't know what we're really talking about or weren't around back then, it's kind of interesting to see how much things have really changed. And I'm actually like looking on their history page on Wikipedia as I'm trying to talk. But again, like this kind of stuff, it seems very basic, like a no-brainer. But before then, we just really weren't expecting something like this. And the Steam community is such an aspect. From that point forward, we had means of connecting with people. Previously, if you wanted to talk to someone or organize games, it all happened outside of the game. You had to send emails, you had to be a part of a message board or forum. And one of the hallmarks of why Steam has grown to dominate the industry is consolidating all this into one software. I don't need to go to 10 different websites to download patches. Steam does it for me. I don't need to go to the store to buy games. Steam again. And now, I don't need to hunt down people and try and find them to play with. I have my friends list, well I should say it's like right down here all the time, and it's all done via the Steam community features. And those features were very big for Team Fortress. When it came to Team Fortress 2, this really shook the industry in terms of design and appeal, and honestly we could dedicate a critical thought to Team Fortress 2's impact when it came to multiplayer, games as a service, and of course providing very, very long-term value to people. But again, being part of the orange box, this was Valve's way of again putting out 3 very attractive games and attaching Steam to it. It's kind of like throwing your vegetables in and saying you have to eat them before you get to your dessert. The games being the dessert in this point. But when it came to the orange box, basically Valve made an offer that we couldn't refuse. These were 3 high-profile and very critically reviewed and praised titles, and they were a part of this program. And going back to my history, the orange box was my first game to buy on Steam after Half-Life 2. And I can remember this as well. I think it was like, I didn't buy this when it first came out, mind you. I think I waited until about later in 2017, or I'm sorry, 2007. Wow, my sense of time is really off. 2007 to about 2008. And my friends were saying, oh my goodness, have you played Team Fortress yet? I mean, it's amazing. I'm like, no, I haven't played it yet. And they're like, Josh, do you have Steam? I'm like, well, I tried it back then, but I didn't really want it anymore. And I remember asking, is Team Fortress 2 worth it for Steam? Or is it big enough or warrant enough to put Steam back on your computer? And like everyone I spoke to said, yes, do it. Do it right now. And I remember going to the store, I bought the orange box, I put the disc in. I remember that feeling of apprehension as I saw the Steam install bar filling up going, this is never going to work, I'm not going to enjoy this. And as we say, that was history. That was the moment there. And since then, of course, things have gone very well for Valve and Steam. And the orange box is definitely a major part of that. And the next big moment probably would be till about, I think, 2009, I want to say, when the first Steam sale happened. But, my friends, that is a story for another time. Like I said, this was going to be more of a quick industry insight, and why the Orange Box was such a great importance to game development and selling games. And once again, this was long before we thought about the idea of bundling titles, game sales. So putting all these games in a very attractive package like this, it was one of those things that it really can't happen again anymore. And Valve originally played with the idea of a black box or a sequel, but that was canned. The Orange Box was just such a perfect thing that they really can't do anything more with it. Now, for those of you watching this, here's a quick question for you. Can you think of any other compilations or rarely attractive bundles, not counting the Humble Bundle and store bundles like we see today, that developers or publishers have released to try and get you to try something new? Because I can't think of anything. When we think of most bundles of games, we usually think of those that are either the shovelware variety, they just, what's that, they saran wrap or plastic wrap, there we go. Oh, and I know, shrink wrap, like 2 or 3 games together for like $5 in a bargain bin. Or it's a compilation that's been out for a long time. Like when they do like bundles of Kingdom Hearts, or various Crash Bandicoots, or God of War, stuff like that. But in terms of a brand new games, we really don't see too many examples of that, and I think the Orange Box may still be the only big one. For those of you watching this, back, way back then in the before times, what did you think of the Orange Box? And was that your first game on Steam? Besides, of course, Half-Life 2. And if it wasn't, what was the game that kind of got you to install Steam in the first place? But with that said, thanks for watching this Industry Insight vlog. And if you have any suggestions for future topics, be sure to let me know in the comments below. But be sure to check back daily for more great discussions on design in the industry here and on GameWisdom.com, where we examine the art and science of games. So until our next vlog, have a great night. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and of course share with your friends. It always helps out. For daily posts on all manner of game design and industry topics, check out game-wisdom.com. To support the site and everything that I do, be sure to check out the Patreon campaign. If we can hit goals, it will mean more content for everyone to enjoy, and I'll be able to support myself and my household. If you want to follow me, you can find me on Twitter at GWBycer for updates throughout the day and random thoughts from me. And lastly, you can find me on Twitch right over there at GWBycer for daily streams most nights around 10 Eastern. Thanks again for watching the video, and be sure to check out more great content coming to the Game Wisdom channel real soon.